And we are joined now by Republican Congressman French Hill. He joins us from his district in Little Rock. Good morning to you, Congressman.
Good morning, Margaret. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. You served with Congressman Gaetz. You heard the speaker who has said, while he doesn't want to specifically wade into the ethics matter, he also thinks it would set a bad precedent to release a report on a former member. Do you think the Ethics Committee should make that decision for itself?
Well, I think the Ethics Committee does make that decision for itself, but I think Speaker Johnson makes an important point, which is Mr. Gaetz has resigned from Congress. There are many investigations that the House Ethics Committee has done, and we don't want to set a precedent where we, under any circumstances, will release documents from that committee. But that decision is theirs. Speaker Johnson has made his views known, and now it will be up to the Senate to conduct their advise and consent confirmation process.
Well, you know, CBS News reported back in June that 4 women informed that committee they were paid to go to sex and drug-fueled parties with Mr. Gaetz. Also, the Ethics Committee has Venmo transactions showing Gaetz's payments for the women. Since taxpayers paid money for this report to be conducted, and it was done, do you think, if you were a Senate, you would consider this material information to confirming the top lawmaker for the United States of America? Law enforcement officer, I should
like
say.
I say, I don't personally know any details about the ethics investigation or the allegations because I don't serve on that committee. But your point is, with the Senate Judiciary Committee asked to see that report, and that may well be a decision that they take, and the Ethics Committee has a decision that they have to make. And Mike Johnson's expressed his view on that as well. So, as I say, this is an important process that the Senate has to do advise and consent for all the nominations. And President Trump has the prerogative to nominate the people that he thinks can best lead the change that he believes the American people are seeking in each of the agencies of the federal government.
You have spoken to us before here on Face the Nation about your work around Syria and Bashar al-Assad's oppressive regime there. You actually visited northern Syria, an area that he wasn't in control of, back in 2017, the first lawmaker since John McCain to do so. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, when she was in office, went to Syria and met with Mr. Assad himself. Then publicly, she came out and questioned U.S. intelligence assessments of his chemical weapons attacks that were carried out on civilian areas, not just once, multiple times. These were high confidence assessments by the intelligence community. Would you feel comfortable with her at the helm of all 18 of them?
Well, I serve on the House Intelligence Committee during this past Congress, and I know the important job that the DNI performs in coordinating, collecting, and reporting on our intelligence. And I think should Tulsi Gabbard be confirmed, she would know with high confidence as to precisely how we collect intelligence, how we coordinate and collaborate on it, and how we then report it to the President of the United States and to the 2 intelligence committees. So again, this is an important assessment for the Senate to make. But I remind you, Margaret, Donald Trump won the election. He wants people that he has a good relationship with, that he trusts, that he believes can do a good job in the agencies to send the message that we want change in Washington. And the Senate, too, has their important job. And we're going to have to wait and see how the Senate handles each of these confirmations.
So it was John McCain who went in 2017. You went in 2023. I may have misspoken there on the year. But so you believe the U.S. intelligence community conclusions, though. You don't mean to question those.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm simply saying, as a member of the committee, I don't question that public assessment that's been made in the public domain over many, many years. And I've led the charge against the Assad regime. I do not support that the Arab League put him back into diplomatic standing by admitting him to the Arab League. And I think America has a lot to do to limit Assad's influence in the region, which is a partner with the Russians and the Iranians, and that's not in the interest of the United States, Iraq, Israel, or peace in the region.
You have also been a supporter of Ukraine, and you've been trying to find some creative ways to help allow them to gain access to continued U.S. support. There was a tremendous attack just overnight there by Russia. The Biden administration wants to provide a $20 billion loan backed up by frozen Russian assets. Will the Congress give them permission to use that money for military assistance?
Well, the Repo Act that was included in the national security package I worked on very closely with Chairman Mike McCall of the Foreign Affairs Committee gives the United States the authority to not only take frozen assets, but confiscate them and use them for the benefit of Ukraine. The loan you're referring to has been negotiated between the Europeans and the Americans to back the Ukrainian government. I believe that will go through, in my judgment. But I would urge President Trump, as he takes office, to actually follow the law and confiscate those Russian assets, as I believe that gives both Ukraine, the United States, and Europe a much stronger negotiating position with Russia. And I don't believe Biden, nor the G7 countries have been tough enough on Russia on sanctions, on the delivery of weapons that were needed to have ended this war long ago.
You're gesturing to what we know, which is that this is a pretty dangerous world right now. One of the selections that the president-elect has made to run the Pentagon at this time is Pete Hegseth. He would be the defense secretary, 44 years old, decorated Army vet, TV commentator. Do you think experience is necessary, or is on-the-job training okay at the Pentagon?
Well, again, I think this will be assessed by the Senate in their confirmation process. He has a distinguished background in the military, and that counts for a lot. And I think his plans, his thoughts, his leadership will be exposed when he goes through that Senate confirmation process. But once again, I have to say, President Trump, when he came into office in 2017, had cabinet members that he really had no personal relationship with, had no working background with. He wants to correct that this time by finding people that he has a good working relationship with. He knows how they think. They know how he thinks, because he thinks it will lead to better decision making in his administration.
Yeah.
He's got that prerogative to nominate those men and women, and the Senate will have their advice and consent function well underway. And Majority Leader-to-be, John Thune, said, look, he'll be effective, he'll be speedy, he'll get it done in the right course of action.
Congressman, thank you for your time today.
You bet. Thank you, Margaret.